Phineas and Ferb is back, and... Did they just kill Lindana? Diva down! Diva down! So Disney celebrated Memorial Day with a sneak peek of Phineas and Ferb Season 5, airing directly after an encore of Candace Against the Universe. It's pretty neat because our first glimpse at the show way back in 2007 was also after a Disney Channel original movie. Almost 20 years ago! I'm getting so old. For those out of the loop, Phineas and Ferb's brand new season will consist of 40 brand new episodes, 10 of which dropping on Disney Plus June 5th, trickling out on television around the same time. And I'll be covering this revival on the channel, talking about anything insane that happens in this batch, like Phineas and Ferb's dead mama. With that said, let's just dive right into it. The revival opens with Phineas and Ferb recapping their entire summer to their class, which they've been doing over the course of the school year, finally wrapping up on the last day of the semester. Kinda ironic that Phineas and Ferb recaps the last day of summer specifically, as although it is the series finale, there's a pretty memorable, major character development in it that they just ignore here. The bell rings, the next summer vacation has begun, and the Flynn Fletcher family is celebrating with a block party. Of course, Candace wants to use this block party to bust her brothers as they whipped up 5 insane inventions for the occasion. But why does Candace still have the need to bust her brothers? The last time we saw these characters in Candace Against the Universe, she realized that her desire to expose her brother's endeavors came from a place of jealousy, because she felt constantly ignored by everyone around her and never felt special, ultimately apologizing to them and deciding not to bust them at the end of the film, because let's face it, there's a good chance Linda would probably be pissed and ruin their summer vacation. So why is Candace back to her wicked ways here? Well, according to her contribution to the Big Summer Starting Right Now song, she thinks she'll be able to enjoy the rest of her vacation if she's able to just bust them once. Huh? They're throwing her epiphany out the window alongside any development and just going with, well, if I get it over with now, I won't have to worry about it later. That stinks. It's like they knew there wasn't a compelling enough reason for her to go back to busting, so they're just pretending like her development never even happened. Same thing goes for our beloved Heinz Doofenshmirtz. Why is he evil again after almost losing Vanessa and having his arc continue in Milo Murphy's Law? Apparently Doof tried to be good for a year, he got bored, and now he's over it, I guess. If we're to take the implications from one of Dan Poppenmeyer's tweets seriously, then the events of Doof 101, the Alka Files, and Milo Murphy's Law seem to have effectively been retconned from this new season because they take place in alternate timelines. I'm being so serious right now. I feel like that's worth unpacking in another video, but long story short, Doof finding out he's destined to become Professor Time is what completely changes the trajectory of his life. So season 5 is in the timeline where Milo, Dakota, and Cavendish never informed him of his fate, and apparently that leads to him relapsing into supervillainy. I guess that works? Still, they seem to ignore the dilemma presented to Doofenshmirtz in the last day of summer, where Vanessa can't live with Doof as he's number 3 on Alka's Most Wanted, and she's enrolling in their internship program. Here, Vanessa isn't even fazed by Doof returning to evil.
Oh, so we're evil again? Hi, Perry.
The easy answer is that the internship is over, and she didn't stick around as a permanent employee there, and she's moved on from that chapter of her life. But that seems like throwing away her development as well, just to keep the show going. Overall, the reason for Doof's return to evil is pretty lazy, and I'm disappointed in that regard, especially because some episodes in this new season appear to be very continuity heavy. So choosing to ignore the biggest developments in the series feels wrong. Anyways, what has Perry been up to for 9 months now that he doesn't have Doofenshmirtz to worry about? Apparently, he's been fighting venomous insectoid robonoids. This feels like it could be a setup for another episode in this season. At least I'm hoping it is, because I'd appreciate some elaboration on this scenario. But honestly, I'm sure Perry missed fighting Doof. Beats whatever the hell he was getting into here. With all that out of the way, the heart of this grand return is definitely Phineas and Ferb's mom, Linda, who's concerned that she's missing out on core memories for the family as she spent last summer running around doing errands all the time. She wants to be involved this summer before her kids become fully grown adults. I really like this, drawing attention to the status quo of the first 4 seasons and giving it emotional consequences. Linda actually didn't like how little she was involved with the boys last summer, and she wants to make up for lost time. It's a cool angle for this revival that I hope sticks. Unfortunately, Linda's about to be caught in the crossfire of Doofenshmirtz's latest inator, the Vaporizer-inator. He's got to start small and crank it up over the summer, you know? Honestly, despite being simple, this perfectly showcases how horrifying Doofenshmirtz could be if he wasn't horrible at being evil, as the innator just vaporizes anything that gets on his nerves. But there's nothing that actually helps the beam differentiate between something that annoys Doof and doesn't. It just boils down to him pulling the trigger. And he doesn't say something like,
"Oh, the vaporizer says it thinks I zapped to another dimension."
They just get flat out destroyed, which makes it real dark when Perry and Doof's routine altercation causes the innator to fire in the direction of Phineas and Ferb's backyard, striking Linda right as Candace is able to bust her brothers, which means Perry inadvertently killed Phineas and Ferb's mom. That's brutal, dude. Is Doof going to prison? I'm not gonna lie, hearing Phineas cry out for his mom actually hurt me. I'm used to Candace screaming, but something about Phineas being remotely distraught is messing me up. So I guess this is the end of Lindana. What am I gonna do with these tickets to her reunion tour?
Aw, come on, it was a joke.
Now obviously, Linda's gonna come back by the end of the episode. Whether they reveal that everything Doof zaps does go somewhere else, or if they rely on time travel or something else absurd, there's no way they're leaving Linda dead for the remainder of the revival. That said, this was a bold move for a big return to television. Remember Phineas and Ferb? Remember their mom? She's dead! I'm really interested in seeing where this goes, so expect a follow-up video when the full episode drops next week. But before we go, I gotta get something off my chest. I've been quiet about it until we got a full episode to judge things off of, and this is close enough. So let me just say that the new animation looks bad. A lot of people seem confused on why, and I could save a deeper dive for a sequel to When the Animation Has a Downgrade video, but to be quick to the point, it suffers the same problems as Hamster and Gretel. I'm pretty sure they're using rigs, which can look amazing if done right, but that's usually when rig cartoons do their own thing. Phineas and Ferb Season 5 is trying to emulate the animation of the original series, which almost never works because it fails to capture the speed and fluidity that comes with fully hand-drawn animation. The demand to produce new drawings of these characters every frame tends to lead to a different look to the motion and expressiveness compared to rigs, as they're usually just adjusting rigs each frame with the ability to add hand-drawn elements on top of it, which again, can look really good. But in Phineas and Ferb's case, the amount of time and effort they put into animating these rigs changes on a shot-by-shot basis. Sometimes the animation is on par with the original series, like when Phineas is dancing during the opening number, but most of the time, the movements feel rather floaty and lack any real weight, like when this robot knocks over a cactus after getting ditched by Perry, or Buford playing drums here. Compare this to any shot of him playing drums in the original series, and it's night and day. There's no energy in this new one. It does the character acting a real disservice too, because you can tell the boarders worked hard to make the characters feel alive, but when the switching between poses feels so slow and unnatural, it doesn't land at all. It also doesn't help that a lot of the time, the rigs make this show look like an eerily on-model browser game from the 2000s. Like the vector lines are a little too thick for how the characters usually look. You get a lot of that here. And usually when one thing does look really good in a shot, everything else looks bad. Circling back to Phineas dancing, which most viewers are going to be focused on, look at literally everyone else around him. They look so stiff and robotic. The blank looks on their faces don't help either. That's a real big problem all throughout this preview, and it was a problem in Hamster and Gretel. Any character can enter the sunken place on a whim. It's rough. Compare these dancing extras to those in a song like Backyard Beach, and you won't be able to unsee how chopped this animation is. I think a lot of people don't register that the animation is different because A, they probably haven't watched the show in years, and B, once again, there are shots that look good. I think people are also used to a drastic change in art direction when their franchise comes back after some time off the air, so the fact this is the original art style is probably enough for people, but I can't help but to feel disappointment. If a show as big as Phineas and Ferb can't get fully hand-drawn animation in the Big 25, or at least good quality control with the rigs, then I don't know if I want shows like Gravity Falls to come back just to look like the Mabel's karaoke short. Let me get off my soapbox though and see how the other episodes in the season look. Maybe it'll get better, but my hopes are honestly low. But on that note, these are just my thoughts and I want to hear yours. How do you feel about the new Phineas and Ferb? Let us know in the comments down below, and keep the conversation going on Twitter and Instagram at OstricVox and at RoundtableVids. If you enjoyed this video, please throw it a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome summer. Peace!